I know binders. This is MJKK 613.14. Pi. Unofficial. Through my eyes, the way I see it. And this is part 3 of going over the new feature, or the added feature to Pi app. It's called the Mainnet feature. It's where we lock up Pi lock up a percentage of Pi for X amount of time. All of the official information that you need to start to understand the feature is in the Pi app on the homepage between enter the mainnet preparation or locking Pi mechanism, or read more section on the homepage. All of the official information for this point in time with the feature, that's where you get it from. There's copies floating around a lot of the unofficial Pi sites that have popped up, Pi communities that have popped up. The information is there. But if you want to be 100% guaranteed of having the most current official information, get it off the homepage. Get it out of the Pi app. It's time. It's time to stop all of the bull outside. You want official information? Come to the official app, get it from the official homepage, put out by core. It's the only place I'm not going to say it's the only place. It's the first place. First place and only truly trusted place to get official information at this point in time. Yeah, and I know Nicholas has his social media, and Pi has official social media and all that. Those are all good sites. They are official. And yeah, it may take the pressure off the Pi app. But I don't go out to all these other outside places to get official information. I start in the Pi app. I started the homepage. But I'm also in Pi app every day. So as I'm traveling or doing whatever, yeah, I stop and check in to see if things have changed or if there's new information or whatever it is. But I don't get it off. I don't get it off Facebook. I don't get it off YouTube. I don't get it off. I'm subscribed to Nicholas's, a couple of his accounts, but I don't. He's way out of my league. He's way out of my league. Okay, and it's not that I can't hold my own or do whatever. No, I'm not gonna waste his time on his site with my bullshit. Okay, I come to the app to get the official. That's it. If you want to be sure, 100%, that's where you go. Okay. Now, that being said, over this last, I think it's been 3 or 4 days, because when the idea will change, I'm expecting change. I know change is coming, and I know, okay, and when it hits, I don't deal with it real well, quickly. I deal with it, but sometimes I'm better off not getting around people for a couple of days on a change, because it takes me 3-4 days to pull it apart. For me, pull it apart, sort it out, how it fits and what's going on, and what I think the goal is of the change. Okay, that's I do it on everything that I'm involved in. That's how I pretty much approach it, and I did it with this too. I've been active in a lot of communities, and I've been helping a lot of people, and people can. So I also find, I form my opinions probably like most others that are helping others and relaying information and passing on information and passing on, because the more you have the correct answer and the more you help pass that on to those new people or people who don't understand, deepens my understanding. And yes, when I first started out, I may not have I may not be on point or on. I'm in the ballpark. I know that. I know I'm in the ballpark, but I may be up. I may be in the parking lot. Nah, I'm usually at least inside the stadium. I might be up in them Bob Buger seats drinking Bud Light or whatever, but I'm in the stadium. Okay. So, but over time, the more you help others, the more you have correct answers, the more you research to get the right answers, to give to people, the deeper your understanding is. I mean, you benefit. I benefit. I don't want to say you. I benefit probably more so than the people I help. And I pride myself on trying to make sure what I have is correct, what I have I can back up, and because I don't want to be putting out bad information. I don't want to be steering people the wrong way. That maybe outside the pie. Who knows? I mean, anyway, I don't want to do some shady stuff. But I have a different passion for pie. I have a different passion for the pie community. And getting us to this point and getting into Mainnet, I view the community different than most people, probably. Yeah, I see it. Because, and this is where I'm going to get into why I think the way, what's going on right now, and why I may be thinking a little different than others. Because I see, once we get totally in the Mainnet, and all the bullshit's been cleaned up out of pie, all the bad actors, fake accounts, the ones that are crying the loudest and hardest about the situation that we're in and what we have to do to get what we've earned, what we've mined, are the bad actors, ones trying to get around the system, the ones that have earned pie illegally. The way whatever they've done, the amount of pie they have, isn't on the up and up. Those are the ones crying the hardest and trying to deflect and to send people off in the wrong direction. Yeah, because they're trying to get away with their shit. Guaranteed. That's life. That is life. It's too bad that had to carry into here. But once we get on the other side, and all that crap is gone and eliminated and out of here, I believe at that point, the attitude and whatever of the community will change. It's changing now. It is. With this new feature and people figuring it out and doing whatever, the attitude, you can feel it. You can feel it and hear it and whatever, at least for the first few days. Then, once we get a handle on the change, and we figure out what's going on in the change, and we're making the change happen, and we're helping people make the change, then old opinions and old filters and old stuff come back in. Yeah, it took about 3 days. 3 days, 4 days for that to happen. And I'm not saying that's about what it took for me to understand. And I put out, I wrote some books, man. Because part of me has to talk about it, part of me has to write it down so I can see it. If I can't see it, no amount of talking is going to change it until I can see it. And usually writing it out. And that's what I did. That's what I did in Pi. In early Pi. And the collapse, the SimPi app, the long post, you make a long post and it collapses down to window size. Yeah, you can credit me for that. I'll take credit for that one. Because mods and pioneers, they hated to see me in the room. They still probably say it. Because I was told a few times to shorten my post as a pioneer and as a mod. Yeah, that's why the collapse came up. Because there aren't too many places I could go to write and sort out what was going on. Okay? So I would do it in Pi. When I was answering questions and doing whatever, I would put my thought on it in a post. Or I would take you would have to scroll through my post 3 or 4 times. You'd have to make 3 page scrolls to get through something that I would post. That was me. And once coming to understand and realizing whatever. You know, I still need to do it. I just didn't need to do it in Pi. Oh yeah, my posters a lot shorter in Pi app than they used to be, but that collapsed. I'll take credit for that one. Anyway, when I joined the Discord group, Discord, you could write quite a bit. Twitter, you could only write like 140 characters. Twitter, I gave up because I couldn't, even on a decent thought, I couldn't get a post out in Twitter. I can't do my shit in 140 characters. Ain't happening. It's not gonna. So I don't spend a lot of time on. I don't post a lot on Twitter because I can't. It's too hard for me to think. Yes, and you know, when became a mod and whatever, talking to Core, and I talked to Vince a few times, and Vince hated. I think me and Vince communicated a little bit, not every day, whatever, but you know, I thought I. And he would always come back and go rewrite that. You know, he's like a teacher. Go rewrite it to something I can read in about 2 minutes. So, I've been told and it helped me to understand. Yes, there's a time and a place. And Discord only has 2,000 words. And I hit that I used to hit that pretty regularly. Okay. The only place that I had free reign to write, and that's why I spent a lot of time on, was Reddit. Reddit doesn't have a word count. Reddit doesn't have a word count. As far as I know to this point. Every other social media has a word count. So, but in Discord, when I first went to Discord, yeah, I would hit 2,000 words and whatever. And in early Pi, a lot of it didn't make sense. And when I joined Discord, was the first unofficial Discord for Pi. And that's a different story, different times of place. But the rooms that they had set up, there were a couple of rooms that really didn't get used in those early days. I just go in there and write. When I get frustrated and couldn't try to figure things out with it, yeah, it was a safe place for me to write. I would just ramble. And whatever I was saying, I just ramble. And I don't know, I did that for a month or so, whatever. Well, I happened to pick up a following in Discord. And really didn't think about it, didn't know it because the room's empty. Well, yeah, there were people watching me sort out my shit. Okay? And I don't know what happened one night, 2 or 3 of them texting or messaging me. Whoa. But it also woke me up to, there are a lot of people that follow the chats, and don't say nothing. They just follow to get the information, to learn the information. Okay? So, but it woke me up to, I also need to be careful on what I post and where I post and how I post. Okay? Because you never know who's watching. You never know who's watching or who's following or whatever. Okay? So, that's how I sorted out and learned Pi, where it's at and whatever. And, as we get feedback and whatever it is, and debate, whatever. Okay. Well, we're here. I'm here again right now. Because doing Pi, even though it was growing, it was whatever it is, it hasn't changed a lot in 3 years. It really hasn't. I mean, there's been changes, and they've been minor, and okay, not like this where we're at now, because there are a few major changes preparing to go to Mainnet. And like you say, it took me about 3 or 4 days to deconstruct it. I deconstruct it, start figuring out how things fit, where things go, put it, kind of reconstruct it, and then play connected dots. That's just how my mind works. It's the way to start to understand. And I still have a long way to go to understand the changes that are happening. But it's also a work in progress and talking to people and getting their points of view and that or that, okay? But my mind works. Yeah. And, I said this in Freeman. And maybe it's just wanting to know that people are making contact inside Pi. That pioneers are making contact with each other, making friends with each other, trusting each other. Okay? And Crypto Legend and I were to get together this weekend and do a podcast on this what's right here. And I think this is the farthest that Crypto Legend and I have been apart as far as understanding and direction and all that. Because we discussed our points of view, and hopefully, I believe, we respect each other enough, that we heard each other, may not agree with or understand our position. It isn't didn't understand position, but maybe not understanding the direction or. And what it came down, what I got to, that I did here, that I'm stuck too far in the past of Pi history, and which may be true. And I'm probably also, because I've done it, I've spit out the same information over and over so many times, and debated with people over and over so many times that sometimes I just get into all. If I'm in the I just get into all. And I did it in a couple of other groups, other Pi groups that I was invited to over the last few days. Yeah, I was sitting in one of the groups, and chat was flowing. We were doing everything, and all of a sudden, somebody responded, and for that group, the response that I put out wasn't needed in that group, and they told me that. Dude, what are you doing? We thought you knew better than that. Yeah. So I was in auto mode. I was watching the question. I just because of I'm thinking about the changes, but I'm in, and that's when I get in auto mode. And I got to be careful when I do that. And I do it. And I do it in chat, especially in Pioneer English and general in English. I get in auto mode. And I'm just responding because I've done it so much. And I'm not saying that I'm not trying to blow my own horn, but I've become so conditioned to newbies, debate, whatever. I don't have to dig deep to find the response, and I get into all about it and just go. Well, being too far in the past, yes, and I don't disagree. I am, because I'm still back at the in-app transfer pilot when it started, when it closed, and where we're at today, and where I feel we should be, okay? Because of the closure of the in-app transfer. And I know that when I start talking about it, people probably just close out. Here he goes again. Now listen to this bullshit. Okay, but I'm also under the impression and opinion, if we don't learn from the past, we're gonna recreate. I had to say, if you don't learn from the past, history is gonna repeat itself. Yeah. Because there are still too many people that don't understand Pi. That, they're behind Pi, they're pushing for Pi. But they're not doing what Pi needs. They're doing what they think Pi needs. And with the knowledge that they have outside of Pi, which has no place in Pi, is what they base their opinion on, base their posts on, and setting people down the wrong path. It's pushing them off in the wrong direction. Because what they're basing their opinion on, this opinion, it's all opinion. Yes, there's official information, but I let my opinion. I'm a diehard Pi. Mm-hmm. And when I listen to diehard Bitcoiners, diehard Ethereum, diehard Stellar, diehard Ripple, diehard, when all these little coins are coming up, shut the fuck up. Get out. Yeah. I'm talking about hardcore foundation people in these other projects. because they're basing their information on what they know, what they've learned, what they've built, what they've done. No, these are some smart people. They are. They're okay. And I'm saying too smart for their own good. Yeah, too smart for their own good in this project. Now, if this project were any other project, I'd be listening to them and I'd be on board with them. I'd probably be putting out the same information. If Pi were a different project. Yeah. Because for what they're talking, fits the other projects. Proof of stake, proof of work, proof of consensus. And so, but where, as far as proof of work and proof of stake, I don't even listen to you guys anymore. I might chime in every now and then. Usually I just walk away because I'm tired. I am. I'm tired of doing battle. And I'm tired of doing battle in Pi 2. I am. Because the way I view, and I'm sure they're viewing it for me too, because they've earned the respect in these other projects. And I have mutual respect. I don't have a lot of respect for them in here. Because they're not helping or talking in the right direction. Now, I'm not saying they're not adding value, providing and talent, but I think they're wasting your talent. I think the talent they have, knowledge they have, the expertise they have, could be better utilized in a different way. That's what I'm talking about. Because I don't want to take anything away from what they've learned, what they know, who they are, whatever. Yeah. I respect that. I don't respect. I lose respect because they're not, and I don't want to get into that bait and whatever. But I'm sure they feel the same way about me. That I'm not open to what they're saying, what they're putting out, what they're doing. That what the world is and what the space is. You're right, I probably not. Probably turned you off of it. Because I'm not saying that Pi doesn't fit now, but for right now, that has nothing to do with Pi. Pi has nothing to do with those kind of models. Because that's what it is. The models that are being based, that we're basing our opinions on, are from our filters, what we know, okay. And see, I feel fortunate. I feel fortunate that I didn't get involved in crypto 10 years ago, 13 years ago. Because I would be one of those people. There's those and us. Yeah. And I feel fortunate that I had just enough knowledge to know to know crypto, to kind of understand it a little bit, but not understand it fully. I didn't. Okay. One of the biggest questions I had when I got Pi was what makes Bitcoin what it is. Why does Bitcoin demand that kind of money? Why is Bitcoin trading at that kind of money? It may hit 100,000. It could hit $1 million. But the hype around it, from my research and what I've come to understand and how that works, how the space works, and how Bitcoin works. No. Because I form my opinion on what I've learned, whatever it is. And I know I get told that no, that's not it. That's not it. I'm not in Bitcoin, so I'm not supporting Bitcoin. I'm not helping Bitcoin do what it's doing. That's not my gig. I'm not in Ethereum, I'm not in Ethereum, not in Ripple, not in Stellar, not in. Okay. And what coins that I was mining when I first got, I have wallets and accounts and coins in them. I haven't been in a couple of years. I got out of all the other coins that were coming out, that have been created since I've been here. And there's been a lot of coins created. There's been a lot of coins created from people in here that got pissed off at core and left. Yeah. History. If we don't learn from Pi history, history will repeat itself, and that'll be a sad day. That'll be a sad day. Because if history repeats itself inside of Pi, if history repeats itself from early days of Pi, then it will have repeated history twice. Because the in-app transfer was supposed to do something different than what it is. I mean, people that have the availability transfer have worked hard to do what their job was, being picked as a pilot. They've worked hard to do it. They've worked hard to get where they're at, and what they've accomplished to this point. Yeah. And they haven't had a whole lot of help, and most of them have been uphill battle all the way to get where they're at. History that people don't know about. Yeah. Don't know what went on between. Don't know where the in-app transfer started and how much thinking was different on how to get started, how to start an economy. Yeah. People don't know that history. And that's why I am where I am as far as too far back. Because people don't. When you're kicking a dead horse, you're kicking a dead horse. When you're standing on the spire and you're and people aren't listening, okay? But I will still be putting out what happened back then, because it fits where we're at now, and it helps me to understand what we're doing right now. Yeah. Because if you understand, because what most people don't understand, they don't understand money, they don't understand how to start an economy, how to build an economy, oh yeah, and I know, I've heard the same shit for 2.5 years, that I'm talking shit. But when I get into a discussion with them, or debate with them, they form their opinion. But they don't go deep enough, because they don't know what money is. They don't know how money came about. Don't know why money came about. And without knowing that and understanding it, you're trying to set up an economy that you have no clue of what you're doing. Yes, history will repeat itself. That's where I started to get upset and I get pissed. I may be back here, but I'm hearing stuff that I'm not saying that won't be part of Pi, won't be in Pi, in a money system and a whatever. And see, I don't know whether Core has changed their goal. Mm-hmm. I don't know whether they've adjusted their goal to fit more of what the majority of people are talking. Or maybe I am all wet. But I'm not buying the system. I don't trust the system that we use today. I don't trust the system Bitcoin. This probably will be a long video. Because if you don't understand the space, and you don't understand what Satoshi wrote, you understand what Bitcoin is today. This isn't what Satoshi wrote for Bitcoin. It's not. I would almost 100% guarantee it. Mm-hmm. And I can't back it up and I can't prove it or whatever, but I wasn't a part of Bitcoin. I'm not a part of Bitcoin, but because I didn't really know blockchain when I got here. I didn't know the protocols. I knew what proof of work was. Nodes, solving the puzzle. First one solves the puzzle, gets to put the block in, gets the block reward, and they go on. It takes about 10 minutes. That's about what I knew of Bitcoin when I got it. I knew Bitcoin market was as volatile as hell. Yeah. Because the buddy that got me in here was in Bitcoin when those early days of Bitcoin trading. He was 20 years old, man. I thought he was going to have a heart attack at 20, dealing with crypto. That's what turned me off of Bitcoin, because I didn't have that kind. He had three phones and programs, and we talked a lot in those early days. So I did get a little bit of knowledge. He would tell me when a whale was going into play, and he would tell me about how people were lining up and just waiting to see what this whale was going to do. Then everybody else would either jump on or whatever direction the coin was going is what they were waiting to see. And if what I did for watching him was crazy, man. It was for me. It was crazy. I'm not in it, man. I think that was what 13. I was probably hitting right on 50, but yeah, no. I have better things to do than, and I really didn't know the tech and how to set up a node. But it was also, I got introduced to Bitcoin when you could still mine it on a single PC, and this is where I started to form my opinion about what Satoshi wrote and things that I picked. I got introduced short time, that you could still mine Bitcoin on a regular PC. Yeah. Watching my buddy go through this, and he mined, and he made money. I think he bought a house out of it and stuff. Yeah, a little envious, well, I think he didn't want it, but it was my choice. I knew it was my choice because because him back then is probably like I am today, and him and I don't talk anymore, or very little. And early in Pi, because what he was looking for a partner, because he has his fingers in the space. If there's a new project coming out, he's in one of those that know in the beginning, and that's what he was trying to get me to partner up with him and follow him and make a lot of money and a lot of coin or whatever. Because if you're good, you can do it alone. If you're looking to hedge your bets, 2 or 3 people getting involved in and working together can earn more than one. That's what the space has become. So in those early days, yeah, Bitcoin, and this is when it started coming up. Starting to command big dollars. When a lot of them overnight millionaires and billionaires showed up, and you hear about Moon and you hear Lambos and all that other stuff came from that. Okay, but that isn't what Satoshi wrote. I would almost guarantee it. But it is what it is, and I'm not taking anything away from what Bitcoin's done, where it's at, the money it's making, and how it's viewed, and investors and investing in it and all that. Okay. But I can probably say the percentage that have made that kind of money, that big money, that boom, to the overall community, 1 or 2%. It's no different than the system we use today. Bitcoin got pushed into the system we use today. Yeah. And to think at Bitcoin's conception and launch, yeah, people were scared. Governments were scared of it because they didn't know the technology, they didn't know what it was going to do, they didn't know what. Okay, and if people would have done the way it was designed, the way it was what it was initially supposed to do, yeah, well, it could have done a lot more. It could have done a lot more than what it has. Yeah, in a lot of different ways. But because it is what it is, and because people know how to make money off it, and know how to make money off these other coins, it becomes all it is. All Bitcoin is a tradable asset. Holds value, store value, it's gold, it's whatever. Okay, take it out. Okay, it's cool. That's what it is. How can it be a store of value? And this is where I kind of get apart. How can it be a store of value when it can drop it? It can drop as much as it's gained. Well, if it's a store of value, that means it continually goes up. Yeah, you might lose a few pennies, a few dollars. Bitcoin can fluctuate $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 within a few months, and in those early days, it can do it within a few hours. How can it be a store of value? You can lose as much value. All right. Put it in, shoots up. Okay. You sell it, well, you got capital gain. I mean, there's a lot of shady and trying to get around stuff. Okay, and a lot of regulations have been put in place. A lot of regulations have been put in place to keep it from doing what it should have done. So anyway, I just have trouble with the whole thing, the whole hype, and the whole. It's hype. It really is. And 1 or 2% control 90-something% of the coins mined. Nodes are centralized. China controls 64% of the nodes and the farms that are mining Bitcoin. Okay, so there's a lot of whatever. Okay, and as slow as Bitcoin is, I mean, Bitcoin itself can only create blocks 10 minutes, 8 to 10 minutes, with X amount of transactions. Okay. So it's slow, it's volatile, it's whatever. Yes, not to use it as gold. Because of the price it commands, it has to be anything in business would trade as gold. But it's too volatile to do business with. Right. Think of a gold sack worth millions of dollars, billions of dollars, and we're doing business. Okay, because it's a digital asset. Yes, you can either send it to me and I can send it to you, and we trade cash or whatever. But we're still. I'm not. Well, I don't know. The people at that level do business different, think different, handle things different. Their money comes from a different place. Anyway, but unless we were sitting in a room, or we had probably central bank, that would probably be the way they would do it. The way gold moves around today is sitting. All of the gold for all the countries is sitting in a central location, and when they're moving gold around, there's a guy either on a hand truck or a forklift or whatever it is, and they're just switching stacks. Yeah. It isn't like, England and the United States and Russia and all, that we're moving gold. I mean, you would have a continuous stream of gold going from countries to countries on how they trade gold today. Yeah, France has a stack over here, or maybe it's in a locked vault over here, and the United States has one, and Russia has some there, and China has some there, and okay, and you got people on the phones in there, and then they write down there, okay, and they give it to whoever they give it to, and at the end of the day, whoever's downstairs or in the vault or whatever moves X amount from stack A to stack B to stack, and they just move around. That's how gold trades. Okay. And it's used for big business. Look it up. Yeah, no, I'm making that up. I really am. I'm making that up. Yeah, just something I thought and I pulled out of the air. Yeah, okay. If you say so, I don't know. You say so. I'll take your word. Okay. So, gold is stable. Yes, it fluctuates with the market. It fluctuates with trade. But you can only trade gold in those kind of amounts, quantities, through a bullion exchange. You can't trade gold on the open market. You can't trade it on the stock market. You can't trade it crypto market. You can't. It has to be traded in a bullions market. It's the only way you can trade gold in that supply and quantity. I know. I don't know that either. I have no idea about finance. I have no idea about money. I have no idea how money's created or why it's created. I don't have a clue. I don't have a clue. I'm talking on my ass. I'm telling you, I'm talking on my ass. Okay? So, Bitcoin and all these big investors, Musk and all these guys, getting on board and investing in Bitcoin. If you understand why and what they did and the time they did it, they didn't do it back in 2000, they did it now. Well, yes, it's become a little more stable, a little more whatever, and a little more, they got a little better understanding of it, they did whatever. Okay? Oh, man, it was news. Elon Musk, $1.5 billion into Bitcoin. Accepting Bitcoin for his Teslas. How long that last? About a month. About a month. And Branson, the only reason Branson was in it is because Musk was in it, and Musk was accepting it. Traveling in space is big money. Branson was accepting Bitcoin because Musk was accepting Bitcoin, because he would lose part of his share because he's got a space program going on too. He's selling seats to wherever he's going. But what I heard straight out of the man's mouth, yeah, he accepts it, and as soon as he gets it, he's exchanged it. He holds no Bitcoin, but he will accept it, and it trades as soon as he gets it. Straight out of the man's mouth. Musk, I'm mixed on Musk. He's done a lot of good things. He's doing a lot of good things. Okay, but I don't know. I'm still up and down. I don't hang on his every word, and I don't look where he's investing, and I don't look where he's going. I don't know the man. I don't know any of these guys. I just want to pick them up because of finance. Okay. How long did it take Musk to get out of Bitcoin? He doesn't hold any Bitcoin anymore. He invested $1.5 billion and accepting it for his car. It was big news, man. Everybody knew. And it was almost as big news, but a little quieter, when he got out. I mean, when he invested in, it was 2 or 3 days and, was way up on the top of the headlines going. When he got out, it was relatively quiet. I mean, people knew about it, heard about it, but the shock factor and the awe factor, and him using, because Bitcoin goes against his philosophy of green energy and green space or whatever, his of green. Oh, come on. He's shooting rockets off pretty regular, man. That ain't green. Yeah, so Musk made his margin. He probably doubled his money in less than 30 days. Kudos. He made his margin and got the hell out. And he stopped accepting it for his products because he realized he was losing too much money on his products, on the sale of his products. Yeah. Because I'm going to go buy one of his trucks with Bitcoin. Now's when the bar market kind of comes. Whoever's gone shopping for a car, most times you spend half the day or most of the day haggling over a car and coming to a price on a car. Okay. Well, just went and bought a sticker. I'm not paying sticker. Man, if I got Bitcoin, I got money. And if I got money, I expect to be treated like I got money. I'm going to get the best deal for that car that I can. What's that? Okay? So we've haggled, we've done our thing, and yeah, it may not take as long, we've drank it, whatever it is. And I pay with Bitcoin. Well, they haven't given me, I give them the Bitcoin, but they haven't given me the keys yet, because that transaction still has to process. And it's one of them days that my transaction, even though I paid extra and paid the guy to do it, it didn't get listed. It didn't get through in that first 10 minutes. I've heard it has taken some people up to like 3, 4, 5 hours to get a transaction to process. Okay? Something you don't hear about. That nobody talks about. No. 10 minutes and gone. And once that block is written and put on the chain, I still have to worry. So we have to worry for another hour that block doesn't get overwritten, because you can overwrite a Bitcoin block for an hour after it's entered the chain. You don't hear about that either. Well, so it just doesn't happen. It's not happening. Okay. All right. I take your word for it. It doesn't happen. Yeah, okay. Well, anyway, it's one of them days the transaction took a little longer to get, half hour, 2 hours to go through. I don't have to teach I gave my Bitcoin, but I don't have to teach my truck because the transaction hasn't processed. I don't get my keys until that transaction processed. Well, that's already making it hard to do business. Now, finally processed. We're doing good. I get my keys. I jump in my truck. And before I hit the street, I'm just turning out, I'm making my turn out on the street to go home. And Bitcoin dropped $10,000. Means I got a hell of it. No, I gave too much for that truck. No. Oh, now I'm confused. Okay. One of us lost and one of us made. So, if I gave them, say, 5 Bitcoin, let's just keep it at $50,000 and gave them 5 Bitcoin. And I got my truck. And the value of the truck is the value of the truck. The value of the truck doesn't fluctuate the way Bitcoin does. Now, driving out of the parking lot, lost lost half of it. So now that Bitcoin is worth $25,000. I got a hell of a deal on that truck. I just paid $25,000 for that truck. They just lost $25,000. Yeah, because it dropped that quick. Transaction process. I got my keys. I'm out of there, man. But they're going to expect me to put more Bitcoin in to cover that loss. You bet your ass. To take those kind of losses? Now, it could flip the other way. But do you think if it gained in price, they're not going to give me what that gain is? They're going to keep that gain. I'm going to get screwed. That's doing business with Bitcoin. That is a reality, a fact of doing business with Bitcoin. It can fluctuate that far, and somebody's going to either take it in shorts or make their pocket fatter. You can't do business. Businessmen don't do business like that. If you think they do, then I don't know what I'm talking about. I have no idea about high finance. How high finance works. I don't have a clue. Because you're telling me it doesn't work. That's why Musk stopped taking Bitcoin. He was losing too many. It was cutting into his profit. He doubled his money over here, and he's slowly bleeding it off over here. That doesn't make sense. That's the reality of Bitcoin. It's the reality of Bitcoin. No, it's not. No. Okay. Anyway. Like I say, I feel fortunate because I learned Pi first. I learned Pi protocol first. Now, did I make some mistakes and do some stuff because it's off of Stellar? Pi Foundation is off of Stellar. The blockchain is off of Stellar. And for a long time, I was going by what I learned, what I heard, and whatever it was. And at that point in time, I probably did put out some shady, not shady information, but I probably put out some questionable information. That's what I was supposed to. Because from the knowledge that I knew, Pi, and going from core and whatever, Pi is a standalone project. Pi is a standalone project. Yes, it will be. It will be. Because Pi is forked off of Stellar. The faucet is forked off of Stellar. Testnet is forked off of Stellar. Now, I don't because I don't know the tech enough. Is Mainnet going to fork off of Stellar? Or is Mainnet going to fork off of Testnet blockchain? It can do that. I believe it can do that. Because Testnet blockchain is running. Doesn't it? So, in a sense, the blockchain is running. They've written a Genesis block for Testnet. I don't believe they've written a Genesis block for Mainnet. Well, if Testnet blockchain is Testnet blockchain, it's a legit blockchain, it's just Testnet. Why couldn't Core fork off of Pi Testnet blockchain? Then it's not on. I mean, because I don't know the tech deep enough. Now, would it be, if Core, this is how my mind goes. If Pi, Core, fork off of Pi Testnet blockchain, is it still considered Stellar? I don't know. That I don't know. And this is just a thought. I'm not saying that that's what's happening. This is a possibility. And diehard Stellar are going to tell you it's Stellar. But I don't know. I mean, all of these forks are off of Bitcoin. Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin whatever, anything that has Bitcoin in its title is forked off of some part of Bitcoin blockchain. Oh, Bitcoin, yeah. I mean, I'm still coming to understand forking and all that other whatever. Okay, but because, and I've learned this as I've gone, which also helps me pull this back down. Anyway, Bitcoin. Okay. Otherwise, I'm gonna be here 3 hours. So, I mean, I was debating, Pi standalone, and since then, I've come to realize and understand, and I was wrong. I made a mistake. And I didn't dig deep enough. I didn't dig deep enough in the right areas to get the right information, because I don't know the tech. I don't know social media. I mean, when I got here, I didn't have no social media. I was off the grid, 95% off the grid. Yeah. So when I got here, I had to play some quick catch up. I mean, I knew it, I understand it, and I understand the technology. I understand programming. I understand development from my past. I understand how you pull a project together, how you make it, I understand what Quarter's doing from the ground up. Okay? Now, they had a foundation to work from, and then built around it off of whatever, but they built Pi. The only thing, and coming to understand now, I made my amends that I was wrong about Pi not being forked off. But direct from core. The only part that Pi has used is the node protocol, node portion of Stellar. Well, then it's Stellar. Okay. I mean, when I started doing battle with diehard Stellar people, oh man. Because I was wrong a lot. I was wrong in a few areas. But I also believe I was right in a few areas. But because Stellar doesn't do it, Pi can't do it. And at the time, diehard Stellar people, and they probably still think that way, that Pi Core stole from Stellar. They stole Stellar from Stellar. You can't steal something that's open source, that's free to the public to fork off it and create off of it. I'm sure Core paid whatever fees to fork off of Stellar. Same as forking off of Ethereum or whatever, building off of Ethereum or whatever. I'm sure Core paid some fees. But, and there's always been debate over Stellar, Ripple, whatever it is, because now, I don't know because I don't know enough about, but they're doing the same thing. Now, I don't know whether the consensus is the same thing, but Ripple and Stellar are doing exactly the same thing in different markets. And at one point I heard Stellar was, because there was a falling out between Ripple, or XRP, and founders of Stellar. I mean, they were. And when those two didn't agree, one did XRP, and one started Stellar. Now, did the feud get bad enough that, where did Stellar start? It had to have started from somewhere. From what I understand, most blockchains are forked off of whatever and built off of whatever. Now, Ripple and Stellar, I don't know where they started. I don't know how they started. I haven't researched it. It's not that important. Okay? It's not. But when it came to diehard Stellar and Pi, oh, man. Okay? And when it comes to mining and all that other stuff, that Pi doesn't mine. Traditionally, no. Pi doesn't mind that. And because Pi is not proof of work. It's, it's Stellar Consensus Protocol and Federated Byzantine Agreement. There's two parts. I mean, now I think Stellar uses it. I don't know. I don't know. Don't care. And between Stellar and Pi, that's where I care, but I don't care. What I care about is that they're pushing what they've learned from Stellar in Pi. That's what I care about, because it's sending pioneers down the wrong path. It's giving pioneers the wrong impression, wrong direction of Pi. That's where I have issue. That's where I have. And pretty much when we run into each other, yes, we were friends, and I don't know whether we respect each other anymore. No, I don't care either. But we end up getting into some kind of debate. We get into some kind of debate because we see things from a different perspective. Different points of view, different because of background, what we know. And I know because I'm not in the trenches with them and I'm not developing it. Okay, I know they already look down on me because I'm not their level. Yeah, if you're not a developer or programmer and you're speaking your mind and you're supporting your information, they still look down on you. Yeah. Go on to Reddit sometime. Yeah. Because they're better than everybody else. That's the mentality. They're better than everybody else. And I don't want to take anything away from them, any respect they've earned and whatever. In their field, in their genre, in their venue. You've earned it. You deserve it. You've put in the work to get it. But don't come into Pi expecting the same thing. I don't care. No, I don't care. That I don't care about. Because you're judging your shit off of what you know, not off of Pi. Well, Pi can't do it because Stellar's not. Pi, you can't do it off of Stellar, so Pi can't do it. You can't. It can't happen because Stellar doesn't do it. Well, Core, it's not on the blockchain. It's off the blockchain. It's doing it. That's where I have issue. Because that gets put out to pioneers. And because of what you do know, they'll follow you. They'll listen to you. They'll believe you. Yeah. It's been happening for 3 years. And not just certain people. Because people have come and gone. People have drifted in and out. Game's the same, but faces change. And I'm die-hard Pi. Anybody knows me knows I'm die-hard Pi. And knows that I'll go to the wall for Pi. And have gone to the wall for Pi. Yeah. So, debating with somebody, battling with somebody, talking Pi. Yeah. Okay, so I also have battle scars backing defending Pi. I said I did make some. I did go. I was making for my opinion off of misinformation, but it was information that I was getting from people doing in the know for Pi, core team, on certain stuff. And in the beginning, there was really nothing in Pi. There was really nothing in Pi. Now, I did get in a debate about the faucet and blockchain and all sorts of stuff early on, which also hadn't been. Yeah, I guess the faucet is forked off its own, all that is, so there is some kind of blockchain running. Okay. It still didn't matter. It's still bullshit. Now, there's certain parts of the tech and legality of having a running blockchain and the token produced from the blockchain. There are certain stipulations, certain regulations, certain laws that have to be followed for that running. But it's not an official. It's not an official live registered blockchain. Okay? It's a beta blockchain building the program. That is hard to understand. So, I think, from what I understand, you can start your project, build your project, develop your project. And as long as it's not Mainnet and have written the Genesis block for the official blockchain, you have leeway to develop your project until that Genesis block is written for the official blockchain. When it goes live to the public, see, and this is where a lot of people get things wrong, because Pi is not live to the public. It's a private program. It's a private project, invite only. Okay, that changes legal issues, what you can do legally, because it's private, in development, not live trading to the general public. That's okay. If I don't know, the only way I can relate this part of it to is anybody drinkers. Drinkers. I mean, that's the easiest way I know it. That belong to private clubs. That belong to private. You live in a dry county. There are places in the United States that are dry counties. Texas is known for it. Yeah, you step on this side of the street and it's dry, and you step on that side of the street and you can buy booze. Okay, going through Arizona, and I was coming from Texas. I was going from Texas to California, and the guy. I mean, I was down where we came out. It was her and I, and I don't know. Texas is a long drive. It was like 10 hours, and we got it just on the other side of Arizona. And we at that time I was in my 20s, early 20s. Maybe I'm not even 21 yet. I don't know, but I was around that age, and I think Arizona at that time was 18. Legal age was 18. Texas was 18. So in Texas, yeah, I could. At 18, when I moved to Texas, yeah, I was miserable. 18-year-old in a candy shop, yeah, cool. But if you ain't from Texas, you don't belong in Texas. I'll put that out. I love Texas. I love the cuisine. I love the food. But I stay away from Texas. I'm from Ohio. I'm a Yankee. No, if you ain't from Texas, you have no business being in Texas. Guaranteed. That I did anyway. So coming through Arizona, we were looking to stop for the night. Get a couple of drinks. I had some dinner. Get a couple of drinks, whatever it was. There was no place to go because it was a dry county. But we're walking around, we're doing whatever, going out of the hotel or whatever, and whoever. So what's the deal, man? Where do you get a drink in this town? And he gave us the location, gave us the address or whatever. Okay. Well, what he forgot to tell us was, it's a private club. So we go walk in. Dude at the door said, "You guys can't come in. You're not members. You don't belong. You don't." Okay. Luckily, the membership was pretty cheap. It was like $10 or $20 a piece for the membership. And the drinkers that we wanted to drink, man. So yeah, we paid to join this club in this town to drink. And there were a lot of people in this club. It was like, I was just getting late. This club was packed. Because it was pretty much the only place you could get a drink in town. But you had to be a member to do it. Law enforcement didn't mess with it because it's a private club. Okay? A private club has different rules, regulations. And I'm talking for this. Crypto's no different. Because most people are under the impression that Pi is live to the public. It's not. We have to be invited by somebody that is already a member of the club. To put it in perspective. So if we have to be invited to the club, to the project, that Core is throwing the party, okay? Once we're inside the Pi, in the state of 10, where it's at, we can drink. and not be affected by regulation and law from outside, as long as we stay within legal boundaries of our budget, of our set, of our, it's private right now. So all the cryptos have to register. They have to be on file. Okay, to trade. There has to be there's legal paperwork that goes with all of this project. That has to be filed, on file, and recorded, and whatever, before Pi goes live to the public. Before Pi can trade on these things. Before Pi can do anything public. Now we can do it in-house because it's a private club. Okay? Invite? Yeah, it's not hard to get an invite, but it's posted all over social media. But if you don't use an invite, you can't get in. Okay? So that's where Pi is at. Because everybody's going off all these other projects. Well, yeah, because they've done their development. They've got to the point to where their blockchain is ready to go public. When these coins run these ICOs, right? It's IEOs anymore. When they run an ICO, they're ready to do business. As soon as you run an IEO, because legally today, you can't run no project can run an ICO. It's illegal to run an ICO because of Bitcoin, because of the frauds and scams, and people losing a lot of money buying into these ICOs, and people skipping off, and no repercussion to get them. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, when people start getting burned out of their money, legal will step in. You can thank all these regulations, all this other shit that goes on in crypto, to Bitcoin. Yes. Because they were the ones, a lot of it, most of the scams were coming off, big scams were coming off Bitcoin in them days. And then you hear about all these, like some little projects that, man, they scammed some big money. People died over the scams and taking the money, have disappeared and can't be found over the scams and money. People that lost money, lost big money. I mean, people lost their retirements, lost their homes, lost their life savings, lost over these scams. Well, and they had no place to go. They had no place to turn to get their money back. Well, governments are to protect people. All the regulations are called, most of the regulations I would say would come from Bitcoin scams. Yeah. Look back. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just pulling shit out of my ass, whatever. But it ties to what's going on, and it ties to the mentality of pioneers. Okay, because up until this point, everything has pretty much gone the same way. Developers develop the blockchain, or is forked off of some other blockchain, whatever. But it's developed to a point. It's developed to the point that they need to distribute and get their coins out, their tokens out. They need to get money to the project, whatever it is. So, what do? They run an IEO. Well, an IEO, you have to run an IEO. You can't run an ICO. It's an IEO. I know they still use ICO in all the paperwork. But because of the scams and stuff, it has to go through a crypto exchange to run an IEO. Because the crypto exchange is held accountable for distributing coins. They're the middleman. They're the third party. So people aren't losing their money and getting what they're investing in. That's all an IEO is. Okay, people talk liquidity and all this other bullshit. Okay, that's why they run an IEO. It raises funds for the project and puts liquidity on the exchange. The project doesn't need to have liquidity for the token. What is liquidity? Well, you can get money for the coin. Okay. Liquidity is how fast you can turn it into a currency, into money. That's liquidity. How fast you can turn it into government currency. That's liquidity. It doesn't say that it has to be provided by the project. It doesn't say it has to be provided by the exchange. Just how fast it can be turned into an asset, into a legal tender. How fast it can be turned into legal tender. Doesn't say anybody has to cover the legal tender, but it's usually assumed or presumed. And exchanges, most exchanges, up until last year, because I got into about that, up until last year, exchanges required liquidity from the owners of the project. And there were only, that I knew of, there were only two ways to do it. An initial coin offering, or the creators of the project took in a bundle of cash to cover liquidity only has to cover the amount of coins that are on the exchange. Yeah. Exchanges required enough cash to cover what was trading in the public. That's all liquidity they needed. And by running an ICO or an IEO, now running an airdrop is just giving it away. All an airdrop is distributing it, because all of these projects have not distributed any coin until they either do an airdrop or an IEO. And when they run an IEO, they're listing it on the exchange, and they're getting money, cash money, for both the project and the exchange, and whatever exchange it lists. Yeah. So that's when these projects go live to the public. They can start as soon as that IEO is running. And if you really look into it, each project runs 3 of them. Price isn't set exactly how we've been told. Listen to for 3 years. No. Look into a coin running an IEO. They usually do it 3 times. Yes. They, people talk supply and demand, and whatever. I forget what formula they use, but it's supply and demand. Bullshit. Yes, it is to a point. It is to a point. When these projects go initially to the public, there is no supply and demand. Where's the supply and demand? Yes, the hype in all of the magazines and all of the crypto rags and all the, okay, that usually, and give plenty of time to let people know that are in the space that it's coming up. Okay? Up until that point, well, can't say that, because to run it on the crypto exchange, the crypto exchange should have liquidity from the creators of the project, because that was, at that time, that was the only way you could get into the exchange. And there was a process. You had to fill out the application. I mean, there were 2 ways you go. You fill out the application, they approve it, and they approve it. You run your IEO, and you create liquidity, and you start trading. Or you fill out the application, you bribed them, you took in a big stack of cash, and you got your coin listed on them, okay, and it started trading. But they usually still ran an IEO to get the coin moving. How is you going to get it moving? Hey, I listed my coin on the exchange, man. Go buy it. No. Yeah, I wish it were doing. Oh, I know, and I'm telling you stuff I don't know, that I don't. Okay. The exchange, the operators of the exchange, the creators of the project sit down, and they pencil out and they do all their formulas, and they kind of come up with an estimated rough price of what the token should trade for, or coin should trade for. And they run their IEO. It's not the only one. they use the numbers from that initial IEO. They sit back down, they calculate it out again, they look at the coins, they look at the money they raised, they do whatever, and they come up with another value, another price. They run another initial coin offering. And they see how that does, and compared to the price, and how the trading volume is, and what's going on, and how many coins you're getting out, and how many, okay? And they get together one last time. And they take the information that they gathered over the first two, they sit down, they crunch some more, they crunch them, they pull numbers out of there, whatever, to get something going. Then they run the last one. And whatever is averaged out, valued, priced out, or whatever it is, and they start trading, that determines the exchange price. Yeah, it's not a one shot. It's not, well, this supply and that supply. Okay. Now, I'm not saying that that isn't how some people do it. Some people that run their own programs and all that, that very well could be how they do it. Okay? And it's probably close enough to get them in the ballpark to what they had to do in 3. I mean, that's how it used to be. And then once found out that a couple of exchanges did away with the requirement of liquidity, of providing liquidity on their exchange, that they would list your coin without liquidity. That's when I kind of got away from that, because it's what the space is becoming. And I understand their philosophy of why because at that time, to get your coin listed, it was expensive. It'd be $500,000. An unproven, untested coin, you had to give them $500,000 to get listed on the exchange. Going in blind. Because nobody knows about your shit, because you did it behind doors. There's no community. Most projects, community starts after they run their first IEO. After people start getting coins and tokens. How many have use case? Yeah, I'm holding your coin. I'm invested because I believe in the project I'm doing. And I'm invested. I had invested because I had to buy coin. I'm invested in this project because I believe. And it's trading on the exchange. I can't do anything with it. There's nothing else to do with it. Look at Electroleum. Yeah. When in their early days of mobile mining, that they don't do no more, it was proof of stake, and we were staking our, okay? There was a big expectation on. Electroleum was at that time, it was one of the top programs. Top projects out. 226,000 when I joined it. 226,000 mobile mining. Okay? Once I found out they were using my phone as proof of stake, yeah, I stopped. And because I didn't either restart a session when I was supposed to, because it was 7 days. At 7 days, you restarted. You got your Electroleum, and you restarted another session. But if you didn't restart it after the end of the 7 days, you lost your 100 Pi. You lost your Electroleum. Yeah, I lost it 3 times. When I started investigating what was going on in Electroleum, found out it was proof of stake. They were using the data off my phone as a stake, and I was getting paid for it at the end of the contract. And if I missed restarting the end of the contract, I lost 7 days worth of income. Yeah, that's I hold Electroleum, but I'm not Electroleum. So I got out of Electroleum. And there was 226,000 when I joined. There was 230,000 or 40,000 when I got out, and that was a few months. I joined Electroleum and Pi at the same time, and Pi had, when I joined, it was 7. We were under 100,000 Pioneer when I joined Pi. Didn't take Pi long to match Electroleum, and it had been out less, shorter amount of time. Yeah. And at the time I was still mining Electroleum. Yeah, I was going in, starting my sessions once a week or whatever. Yeah, I think I don't know. No, I'm not going to take my balances, but I got somewhat balanced of electrons. So I'm mining electron, mining pi, and I was mining a couple of them. And I was watching, yes, Core has, because there's reasons why Core had, there is no Pioneer count, running Pioneer count. That I learned that, why that early on. But the updates we were getting, or the a Pioneer count, Pi is always going fast. Always. And I think it was more, well, I don't know about now, because I haven't really heard current numbers. But back then, Pi was over exponential. Over exponential. Regularly. I forget where it started to level off. But it was way up there. And electronium, it didn't move much. Up and down, up at 226, I remember the number. 226,000. I don't know where it is today. That's where it was. I watched Pi just steadily climb and level out with electronium. Electronium, same thing. Watched Pi double electronium. I was saying. That's about, I think, when I found out how electronium was set up and what it was doing, all that. Because electronium was mining in the cloud. Electronium was cloud mining. And there was a big push that Pi was cloud mining and all. No. So cloud mining, research, cloud mining is proof of stake. But in normal proof of stake, whoever's running the nodes is offering you're hooking up with somebody, you're making a contract with somebody running a node is what it is. So when you make that contract, you stake your coins of whatever. When the contract is fulfilled, the node you're hooked up with, you get a portion of what they've earned over that time. Yeah, what they've mined or earned over that time. Proof of stake. Cloud mining, the person running the node is contracting with somebody in the server, cloud server, third party. The third party is what's connecting with me to connect to them to earn from them. So the percentage, whatever the percentage was, that was already calculated out. The running the node got his cut for mining it. The third party got his cut for having a server in the cloud, and then we got our cut for mining. That's how electronium was set up. That anybody that's mining in the cloud, that's what they're doing. It's proof of stake, third party supported, connected to who's doing the work. That's cloud mining. I know, I'm full of shit. I have been. I've been full of shit this whole time. So, yeah, Pi and electronium were, okay. And electronium at the time also wasn't listed on the exchange of trade. It was in its development, trying something new and different. Who knows? At the time, because I was still learning, and I was more concentrated on learning Pi, learning what made Bitcoin and what made Pi and Bitcoin different. I didn't take the time for electronium. It was a hobby. Once a week I pushed the button. Whatever. Really didn't have it, because I could do electronium. I also got in queue. I got the same amount of invites the first or second week that I was in queue that I have today. I don't even know. I don't even look at queue anymore. Okay? Because I don't have the talent to invite. And in queue that was what it was built on. Because they had to progress through queue, you did it on invites. If you didn't make your target, they give you goals and amount of time to reach the goal to move to the next level. If you don't make your goal, you don't move up. I'm still in the first level after almost 3 years. Yeah, like I said, I got out and I did XO too, XY. Now I've enjoyed them, but I didn't get out of them because they're not worth my time. It's not worth it. So, and keeping it up, and what got me on XYO was when XYO initially launched. You couldn't mine it. You could do it on your phone. Then, it wasn't too long after that, you had to buy to earn faster, to accumulate faster. Then, when I got out, is when they brought the bridges in. Because you had to have a bridge to be able to earn more, and then they went to, you needed a second bridge. Because the buddy that got me in, Pi, is in XYO. I don't know where he's at, how far he's gone into it anymore, but he had the money to invest in the bridges and in the clickers and all that. Okay, so I don't know where he's taking it, but that's when I got out, because now that going in didn't cost me anything. I could do it for nothing, but then you had to start buying hardware to make it profitable enough to do it. Okay. So I got out of all the mining new stuff and all, because I believe in Pi, trust in Pi, passionate about Pi. Pi can do some good things. Okay, so Pi, and we're going, and we're doing, okay, and we're private. We are, and where most people misinterpret Pi is they believe it's public because of the amount of invites, the amount of people, what's going on, or whatever, and overlook the fact that Pi is developing in the open. Pi Core didn't choose to go behind closed doors, develop Pi, get it to a point, then go public, go public like everybody else. That's where people miss it. So, I'll cut this and I'll come into another one. Because Core, and this is where I don't know what I'm talking about. And I don't. That's not why we're here, and that's not why we're there. Whatever. Okay. Core chose to develop Pi out in the open. Private project being developed in the open by invite only. That's where I'm gonna drop this one, because I'm getting long. Like I say, I could go a couple hours on this. So anyway, that's where we're at, where I'm at as far as Pi history, and hopefully. This is how I put things together and how I see it and how I understand. Hopefully, I pick up where I left off. All right, I'm out. Have a good one.